Alright, let's talk about adjectives in Spanish. Now there are two crucial things to understand about working with adjectives. The first one is that adjectives must agree with their nouns in number and in gender. So what this means is that if your noun is plural, your adjective has to be plural. If your noun is masculine, your adjective has to be masculine, etc., etc. Now, the rules for pluralizing adjectives are the same as for pluralizing nouns. So if it ends in a vowel, add s. If it ends in a consonant, add es. Now for gender. As you saw with nouns that change gender, most adjectives will end in an O, which is the masculine form, and that O is changed to an A for the feminine form. If the adjective ends in any other letter, whether that be E, R, whatever, S, there's some, those do not change for gender. However, they do change for number, and you would either add an S or an ES, depending on vowel consonant. So let's look at a quick example here before moving on. We'll look at the adjective bonito, which means pretty, and because it ends in an O, you see this is the masculine singular form, masculine singular. To make it feminine, we would just drop the O and change it to an A. It becomes bonita, so this is feminine singular. To make it plural, we would have bonito, and because it's a vowel, we would add an S, bonitos, and that is masculine plural. And then to make the feminine form plural, again, same thing, just adding an S, bonitas, so feminine plural. So, next thing you need to know about working with adjectives. In Spanish, adjectives almost always follow nouns. And this is the exact opposite of English, so a lot of people have trouble with this at the beginning. It's natural to you to want to put an adjective before the noun. For instance, in English you would say, the red car, and your adjective is here, and your noun is here. In Spanish, however, this order is reversed. So to say the red car in Spanish, you start out with your noun, so we say el auto, and then we add our adjective right to the end. El auto rojo. This means the red car, but you would translate it literally as the car red. So just make sure when you're working with adjectives that they follow their nouns. So without further ado, let's start with some examples. So our first example here, let me just sort of carve out a little space. Our first example is las chicas, and the adjective I want you to use is guapo, which means handsome or good looking. The second example is los animales, the animals, salvaje, wild. Number 3, la tortuga, the turtle, verde, green. Alright, so pause the video and then resume when you want to see the answer. Okay, so let's look at the answers here. So our first noun is feminine and plural, so we need to make this adjective feminine and plural. That means that we're going to change our O right to an A and add an S to the end. So our final little phrase is las chicas, because the noun comes first, and then the adjective guapas. Las chicas guapas, the good-looking girls. Next we have los animales and the adjective salvaje. So again, we need to make this adjective agree with our noun. So we see this is masculine and plural, and we look at our adjective here and see that it doesn't end in O, so we don't have to worry at all about gender. However, we do have to make it plural, so we will just add an S right to the end. So then we have our noun first, los animales, and then our adjective, salvajes, the wild animals. Finally, we have la tortuga and the adjective verde. So again, we need to make this agree with this. Now it ends in an E, so we don't have to worry about gender, and this is singular, so we don't have to add an S. So we have our noun first, la tortuga, and then our adjective, verde, la tortuga verde, the green turtle. Alright, so now you can see that I've drawn you a lovely picture, and your job is to look at these and pause the video and take a moment to describe them. And I've given you what all the nouns are. So your job is to pick out adjectives. You can use colors, you can use any other adjective you know. Just make sure that they correctly match the noun you're describing. So pause the video and then resume to just see some examples I came up with. Yours might be different, so don't forget. Alright, let's start, just go left to right. So we have over here la casa, which is a feminine noun. So we need a feminine adjective. I'm just going to say the yellow house because that's the only thing I can think of. I'm not creative. So we start again with our noun. And then the adjective yellow is amarillo, but we need it to be feminine, so we need to get rid of that silly O and add an A to the end. So we have la casa amarilla, the yellow house. Next, we have el hombre over here. And to me, he looks like a very tall man. He's almost as tall as our house here. So I'm going to use the adjective alto for tall. And I'll just come down here. And again, we start with our noun. And then this is already singular and it's masculine, so I don't need to do anything to my adjective. I just add it right to the end. El hombre alto, the tall man. Now over here I have el chico, the boy, and he looks kind of short to me. So I'll use the adjective bajo, short, for him. And again, this adjective is already masculine singular like the noun, so I can just add it right to the end, sort of cheating there. El chico bajo, the short boy. Now I have la chica, and she doesn't really look either short or tall, so I'll just call her by color again. So she's green, so I will say verde is the adjective I want. And she's singular, and verde doesn't have to change for gender. So again, I can just put that right there, la chica verde, the green girl. And finally I have el auto, and this car is blue, so I'll use the adjective azul, blue. And el auto is masculine singular, azul is singular, and it doesn't change because it ends in a consonant. So again, it already fits my noun. El auto azul, the blue car.